Hi, everybody. I don't have to explain my reasoning. Excellent stuff. Yes, I did pick Hisu as my damage roll star. Look, I like seeing Hisu play. I did pick 3 Toronto players for my roll stars, to be fair. I also had Chorong and Twilight, the Adamantium backline. No, okay, I didn't put Hopper
down. Your favorite
Tank
player?
was like... I know, he's one of my favorite players, but the Tank roll star this season, Rose, you see
that list is actually insanity. Like, there's so many good players, and like you've seen the talk about MVP votes and also roll star votes, and it's like you really can't make a wrong choice. Like it's just that close across the board. Everybody's really stepped it up for this season.
It's super difficult. It was. I think that was one of my hardest ones, was choosing what role stars are for the tank. Like you said, really it's ridiculous. I think there are obviously some big candidates in there, like Reiner, for example, but yeah, overall it was extremely difficult. I'm curious to see everybody else's, like what the public's kind of thinking and what other kind of personalities around the scene are
who's actually going to win the awards. We'll see.
Definitely a tough thing to pick, but we're going to get into this series. It's Mayhem versus the Toronto Defiant. Rose, obviously both these teams right now are in the play-ins, and this actually could be a match we see again in the play-ins when they start in like a week or 2 weeks or so. You know, like it's kind of insane. Yeah, exactly. Like it's so close now, which is also insane. Regular season ends this week. Ridiculous stuff. But we might actually see this matchup again, which is quite interesting because both these teams, in fact, might not want to show their hand entirely. They are playing on this patch for play-ins, so if the Florida Mayhem or the Toronto Defiant have something in their bag of tricks, do they really want to show it now if their opponents could be each other in a week or so?
Yeah, I don't think you want to, because every little advantage, every little strategy is going to help you propel further, and the ultimate goal from the play-ins is to make it into playoffs, where you've got the big money on the line, the trophy for the season, all of these other things that just the entire season has been leading up to, and so you don't want your journey to be cut short. So yeah, you got to kind of hold on to all your cards if you really can. But I think this matchup's going to be tough. You know, like we were talking about how votes have been really up in the air for all these teams. I think the winner's up in the air too. Jaws, I mean, look at this lineup here for Florida Mayhem. We talked about tanks. Let's talk about someone who has just been pretty standout here for the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, definitely one of the most... well, one of the craziest personalities I think we currently have in the league. Yeah, and always animated, whether it's on camera or on stage or whatever. I try to see him on the big stage, honestly. I think everybody else does as well. I think he's captured the hearts of a lot of Mayhem fans and fans around the league just with his antics. So let's hope the Florida Mayhem do well in this series in the play-ins. They got Checkmate, Hydron, Animo, and RuPaul to round out the lineup starting today, Rose. So no Xe again. We're just seeing Hydron just slotted in there.
Yeah, I think at this point, like it's really tough because Hydron and Checkmate have had and developed so much synergy over the course of the season that it's really difficult to separate them, and bring in a new DPS into the lineup that just plays differently. You know, I think that Xe's one of those types of players that has some incredible hero moments, but when you're trying to work with backing up someone's aggressive style of play, you really need players that are going to like have had that experience working together as a unit, right? So that's where I feel like this lineup comes into the fold.
Let's have a look at the Toronto Defiant. 3 players on the lineup today who I put down for role stars. We'll see how they can do. Chorong and Twilight, Hopper, Although, and Hisu to start us off today. So no finale. Gonna have Although and the Hees on
Yeah,
deeps.
I mean, this is just a star-studded lineup. I know we've memed about it a lot, but the talent legitimately is there. We just need to see it kind of shine a little bit brighter today. Like we were mentioning, Toronto have suffered some pretty devastating map 5 losses so far this stage, and this was after coming in 3rd at their own homestand. And so you're really just kind of hoping that this roster can kind of pull themselves together, rebuff the mental, and come into this final week of playoffs or regular season strong.
Yeah, Toronto Defiant still have it in them as well, Rose, to end the regular season exactly mid, like 0.5 differential. Like they are currently 11-11 with 45 to 45 maps.
I mean, but that's good enough. That's good enough.
That is true, but it is insane that they have an exact equal record. It's honestly a talent in of itself. And they have 2 more matches to go, Rose, so they could be 12 and 12. Their next opponent is the Houston Outlaws. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that one goes down. But at hand, it is the Florida Mayhem as their first opponent.
Kicking things off here on Ilios, and this is where I totally understand why Animo is going to be in the lineup for the Florida Mayhem. We see him often slotted into the roster for these control maps to be able to play that Lucio and have that speed advantage, but Animo also provides a lot of flexibility to the team where it's not just about the movement and territorial control of the map, but also that high skill expression and just being able to kind of pump out that damage that Florida is going to need for these pretty strong dives. But Chorong too.
Yeah, Hydron I always kind of look to, and I think this will be the big matchup for him to at least prove himself a little bit more. He did at the very start of the season, had a bit of a lackluster stint in the, like the JQ meta kind of thing, where we saw a little bit more XE, to be fair, and playing against Hisu, who's notably extremely good on things like Sojourn, and just a very, very clutch player at the end of it all, an exciting player to watch. I think the Florida Mayhem, or at least Hydron, might have a little challenge here. And I think Florida, especially coming into the season, their roster was kind of chop and change. We have a couple of switch arounds here and there. Sermajed and RuPaul for the Florida Mayhem have been super standout, and I'm glad they have someone like Animo too, Rose, who will come out for, well, surprisingly, you know, Lucio good on this map, has also been just a backbone for this team. We'll see how they want to face them, though, as Toronto Defiant do end up losing Chorong to start us off, and Hopper's not soon to follow. The Florida Mayhem with an extremely aggressive wraparound into Cage do end up taking that first cap rather easily.
Yeah, the wraparound actually forced Toronto into that position where they had to try to disengage, but without the Lucio, it kind of made it difficult for Hoppa to get away as well. So someone gets to keep their Zarya charge, they get to keep control and this aggressive positioning. But it really is going to be this like Hisu Hydron duel across this open pit.
Yeah, I think Hisu wants to take a more of an aggressive angle here. Shooting the bubbles, he is charging someone up a little bit, but charging the railgun in the process is Hisu. Hydron ends up taking yet another kill, and that is although he started the last fight off with an elimination. Now he gets another one. Chainmate paying attention to Hisu on the high ground. Nice little reflection damage there. Oh, dies to the disruptor shot, but it's okay. His team are there to back him up. Animo helps chase down the kill as Florida near that 50% mark.
Yeah, they're going to be racking up percentage pretty quickly here if Toronto aren't able to come back into this one. You're really relying on Twilight now to hit a pretty big window. So you want to see him get into maybe a flanking position to really amp up some of that damage, but
little double hop.
I was like, oh, he's
nice
just
little
getting
attack
ready for
there.
it.
That was super nice. Oh, there's the window. Run, someone. He's good. He had a bubble as well, so it wouldn't have been too much of a problem. Still got to be careful. You are near the pit, and I'm sure Chorong is hunting and searching. Hopper do be on the high ground, though. He did also jump up onto height. He isn't really getting too much damage done. The rest of the Florida Mayhem are kind of just sitting in the cage, but they will have to touch the point, as although is pressuring. The Toronto Defiant have a couple of ults on board, or at least will in a moment or two, as Hopper's nearing that grab, although he's got a pulse bomb and trying to hunt down Hydron. But the Sound Barrier from Florida Mayhem might just be too much tempo for Defiant to actually keep up with. Or Hydron just taking names and numbers with a triple kill, a quadra kill for Hydron there with the railgun to end out the round. Toronto Defiant, where you at?
In spawn. They're in spawn. That Hydron put them in spawn. He put all of them in spawn.
Oh my god.
That was nasty.
Pretty. Oh man. That's rough, right? It's 100-0, and Toronto Defiant, they're coming back with ults. Although it had pulse, and they were nearing like 90+% on like grab, on overclock and whatnot.
They just couldn't get there on time to like use them.
Florida Mayhem's tempo was just too much for them.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be tough. I feel like Toronto has actually kind of had this problem for a lot of their most recent matches. You know, it's just kind of a little unfortunate that, you know, the stage that they've had so far and the opponents that they have faced have been pretty tough in terms of just pace setters. Like, you know, I think Dallas Fuel has been, you know, a pretty big one, but also just having to play against teams like the Rain, who really like to play aggressive. That was a tough loss for them to start out this stage.
Once again, Florida Mayhem just trying to force themselves in the backline. Toronto Defiant. Hydron opens it up. Twilight ends up going down to checkmate. Wow, looking a little lackluster now at Toronto. Florida Mayhem, it feels like, this is going to sound incredibly silly, but like it feels like they're just using the speed boost and Charong's not at this point. They're always able to kind of push out, like Charong and Animo just like speeding out spawn, yada yada yada. But like Florida Mayhem are really just pushing. Toronto Defiant a little bit just more reserved, backing up slightly, wanting to play around the point, as Florida Mayhem just trying to force the issue more often than not.
I absolutely know what you mean. It's just like Florida, they're really not waiting around to try to get into the best position to do things. They are just kind of pressing the W key and doing what they do best, which is just using their mechanical skill to get these picks.
All right, there's a pick for Defiant now. They do take down RuPaul. Can Hydron save this? Oh, an aggressive beat from the Florida Mayhem there. Hits 3 people, but the grab from Hopper will end that fight. Rather overeager maybe, but they still managed to get the Graviton Surge out from the Toronto Defiant. As, now Toronto do control.
Yeah, well, that was a pretty heavy investment there. You saw the Amplification Matrix and the Graviton Surge. Actually, double support ultimates being used for Florida, though, doesn't feel great either, but someone at least gets a chance to come back into this one. Wow. And with Hydron getting the pick onto Hisu, this is a free grab.
God, he is dominating right now. Twilight does receive the beat, taking the 1v1 quite handily. Graviton Surge comes out from someone, is blocked. Well, the majority of the damage is blocked by that lamp. Can Defiant get healed up quick enough? Doesn't look like it. Although right now, harassing Animo, trying to force him into different positions and away from the rest of his team, and also keeping the Lucio low so he can't peek out. It is go time for Hisu as he unlocks the overclock, but so does Hydron. And look at Hisu backing all the way up. Doesn't want anything to do with this fight whatsoever. Just the sheer presence of both Checkmate and Hydron enough to kind of scare him away, and we're not even in Halloween yet. Toronto Defiant do end up losing control, but the Florida Mayhem still willing to take them to the cleaners as they do push up all the way, well, close to their spawn. Not quite there yet, but I can imagine we're going to get touched the spawn.
I think so. You may as well at this point. You have a pretty big lead over Toronto in terms of capture progress, and you're going to be actually at like last fight territory by the time that Toronto come back into this one. Even Hisu actually, you know, tried the Widowmaker for a short time there, going to go back over to the Sojourn. But that's another pick. That's speed that Toronto don't have. And they've got to get a reset in here unless Hisu's able to get a second pick.
Okay, how do Florida Mayhem really grab around this? Because, yeah, they do need that pick.
Back up.
But killing RuPaul does force Florida to back all the way up. 99% is approaching for Florida as Animo's close to that beat. He's got to be careful, though. Looks like, yeah, Hopper and although wanted someone dead, and they got their wish. Overtime was reached, but Toronto Defiant do cap. Wasn't really much of a fight there. It was just like running down someone, waiting for RuPaul to come back.
Yeah, and this is where things get a little dicey for the Defiant. They really only have all those Pulse Bomb to try to take out somebody in the back, but when RuPaul has the Immortality Field, that's not something that is easily taken out, especially if you can wait till the last second before that Pulse Bomb ends up going off. So, Sound Barrier, Amplification Matrix, Florida coming in hot.
Yep, Animo's even holding on to that Sound Barrier too. The Florida Mayhem pushing the Toronto Defiant to their brink. Sound Barrier available. Okay, eventually comes out. I got a little bit worried there, and I think the rest of the Florida Mayhem did too. A Sound Barrier plus a lamp does help them survive that Graviton Surge, as now the Florida Mayhem determined to take this point back. Well, those damage looking rather lackluster on that Tracer right now. He's actually getting out damaged by Animo of all people. My word, what a round number 1, or map number 1, I should say. Florida Mayhem with a quick and clean 2-0.
Yeah, that was super, super clean there for Florida. They are definitely on a hot streak right now. Hydron seems very warm and very ready to fight this duel out with Hisu. And he's been winning a lot of the times right here. I mean, just the quad that we saw on Well, yeah, he's ready to go.
Yeah, he's in it to win it. Florida Mayhem up a map already. Wow, what a start. What more can you ask for from Florida Mayhem? It looks like smiles across the board. I mean, Hydron's cheesing ear to ear after that quadra kill. I would be as well. All right, we're going to jump to a break. We'll see if Toronto Defiant having any more success on map number 2. Welcome back. There's the guy that was cheesing a minute ago. Dude got a nice little quad kill and yeah, didn't die.
Yeah, he didn't die.
Didn't die on Ilios. That's a pretty good stat line thus far. Hydron Sojourn is just a thing to behold, honestly. When the hero initially got kind of released, or, you know, everybody could kind of play in the Overwatch League, everybody was curious, like, who is going to be the best? And Hydron was one of those players that stood out, and you can see exactly why. 0 deaths, 11 charge shot kills, 13 final blows, 4 overclock kills, which was the quad kill. I don't think, like, at the end of the day, if you hit one quad, you can forgive pretty much every other ult you have. It's all good.
Yeah.
You've got the clip, you can ship it. It's all good. 5.5k damage on Ilios. Yeah, he's starting out the series pretty damn well, and that goes for the rest of the Florida Mayhem team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Florida has been doing such a stellar job, but I feel like we'd be pretty remiss to not point out that Toronto Defiant are dealing with illness in the team. A couple of positive cases of COVID, so they might not be performing at peak that we might have hoped to be able to see them at. So I hope they're starting to feel better, and I hope that they're going to be able to go into play-ins really strong. But today, I think Florida Mayhem, they're really kind of giving it to them.
Yeah, definitely rough to play when you are ill. I mean, you are in a situation too, Rose, where you have made play-ins, so it's not like a life or death situation. So you can kind of breathe a sigh of relief in that aspect.
And you're saving
but still
strats.
Not great to play.
You're saving strats
when you're feeling a little bit rough.
Right?
Yeah, true. True and real. I mean, yeah, I love talking about that kind of thing because we do see every now and then something a little bit wacky come out in the playoffs or play-ins that has been kind of looked over in previous matches. But right now, what we're seeing is kind of what I think we're gonna get. I don't think there's going to be any major variations in kind of comps, especially with how strong like D.Va and Zarya are. We've seen a little bit of like Rhine, Sigma, of course, on certain maps, or if you Kaluj, as many maps as possible. But with the Genji, Tracer, Sojourn, Sombra, and sometimes a little bit of Echo, I think that's really all we're going to get. Although I could be wrong, which I hope I am, but we'll have to wait and see. There's been
some
small percentage plays of like Soldier and stuff like that, but yeah, we'll see.
I feel like a lot of what the meta has evolved to over the stage, because like these last 4 weeks have been kind of wild. We started with a very heavy focus on D.Va, maybe a little bit more of a focus on Winston, like Winston, Sombra, Tracer, especially in the APAC region, and then D.Va became very popular, and then, you know, teams like Dallas Fuel, Toronto Defiant with the Zarya pick, you know, Hampin and Hoppa just really kind of making that like a really big staple in the format as well. We have seen a little bit of iteration, but I think we're finally starting to see the meta settle onto what is going to be best for these teams. So, yeah, maybe not too much iteration.
Oh, Hisu under a little bit of pressure there. Oh, he's trying to bob and weave. Does hit that body shot on RuPaul. Not sure there's follow-up, although it's super low, and in fact the entire team is. That shift from the Batiste healing everybody up nice and proper, but the Toronto Defiant taking down someone might be able to make this first cap a little bit easier. Yeah, RuPaul being shoved away. It looks like the entirety of Florida Mayhem a little bit split up right now. Yeah, even RuPaul using the lamp to kind of save himself, but not for long. Hopper should be able to get that kill. Oh, maybe not. Okay, well that kind of blows, but the point still should be theirs.
Yeah, a nice stall coming in from Florida there, but a very nice team fight and quick take by Toronto. Twilight having the amplification matrix on line 2 is pretty big. I also want to point out that Torong and Animo are charging up these sound barriers like wicked fast. They're both going to have it online for this next fight, and I think that's absolutely insanity when you think about just, you know, how maybe you see Lucio's actually charging those up. Doesn't seem to be as fast, but these matches, like both of them are hitting their shots. So
that window kill was extremely quick. I don't think there was any time to react there if you were Hisu. Window comes up, right click from the Sojourn, insta kill. Oh, Hydron's still going. I thought maybe you don't use, still using ult, sir. Everybody. Hydron's just kind of spinning around there like he's playing a tower defense game, looking for the balloons to pop. The Toronto Defiant do lob in their grab onto the payload. They catch a couple of people, but it's instantly lamped. There was no follow-up, so a bit of a ult wasted there, you'd say, from the Toronto Defiant. They've at least still got that beat. We'll see what they want to do with it, but they have to be careful of someone's
Yeah, I mean,
grab.
that's the problem, is that you have the grab, and you also have the Dragon Blade from Checkmate that you're really trying to save this beat for. You know, we've seen a few teams actually using that amplification matrix as a defensive tool, but that's off the board as well here for Twilight. So you're really just kind of hoping that maybe the Immortality field is going to be enough, but there's the grab.
There's the grab. Oh, okay, yeah. Trong deciding better of it. Didn't want to use that beat. You know, to see if he's in that grab, everybody's just kind of looking at him anyway, and he might Ajax. You don't want that to happen.
No, I mean, the Immortality field only lasts so long, you know, and it has so much health.
See ya, Chong.
Yeah, big reset there. We're going to see a switch up here from All, though. Going to actually go over to the Genji instead of the Tracer, so playing a little bit more for those Dragon Blades now. Maybe feeling like he just couldn't find the same value that he would have liked to with the Tracer. There's not really a great target on the enemy team. Hydron can kind of just like slide away from you if you're nearby. He's been keeping a really nice distance. Checkmate could bounce that back to you. I don't think you want that to happen. But then just the mobility as well from Florida when you have the bubbles from the Zarya too. I think the Genji just gonna be able to slice through it a little bit better.
Blade. A lot of things being thrown out now. Beat to counter the Blade. Hop is still pretty low, though. Checkmate just chasing everybody off the high ground. Double sound barrier. A lot of over health. And now the second attack can begin as Toronto Defiant still looking like they want to move up those staircases. I don't know, it goes down to a headshot from Hisu. Not really sure how that ended up working out, but it's working out for Toronto Defiant. Window and the lamp being used. And that will be the high ground defense from Mayhem thwarted there, as Toronto is still moving that payload. However, Hydron, yeah, he still manages to get a double kill. So not the cleanest fight in the history of fights for Toronto Defiant, but getting payload space is important as they are approaching this final corner for checkpoint B.
Yeah, so there's the payload progress. You're going to see Toronto start to back off from this one, though, as Hoppa has another grab, and you really just don't want to be staggered here. But this is the perfect opportunity for Hydron with the overclock to start getting set up on the high ground here.
Decent grab. That lamp is currently hitting someone, but a counter grab's pretty big. Hydron's just left clicking into it with his ult. Remember, those shots do end up penetrating targets, so yeah, pretty deadly if you're trapped in that Graviton Surge. A lot of free damage for the Sojourn. Nice combo use of the ultimates, and with a minute and 30 seconds to go for Toronto Defiant. Not looking so hot. Maybe the Blade can be the difference maker.
Yeah, you don't have an Animo sound barrier up right now, so you're hoping that the Dragon Blade will be able to stick that damage. It's going to be about that immortality field, though, from RuPaul. Got to get that down before you're able to make that Dragon Blade damage stick. So let's see. I don't know. They got to also get past Hydron, too.
Oh, missed that jump. We'll pretend we didn't see it. All good. All
Just
good.
take the stairs like a normal person.
All right, same thing for Toronto. Although, Blade gets bubbled. Beat's not available, but the lamp is, although takes care of RuPaul and his lamp with a single slash there by the looks of it. He does end up getting focused down by Animo, but he's quickly dispatched with 35 seconds to go, and with a touch here for Mayhem possible, and with a window too, that bridge can be rather deadly to cross.
You can see actually a big push up here from Toronto to try to at least get a little bit of poke damage. You want Twilight's Amplification Matrix online. He's actually going to stay a little bit back. So while Toronto take damage, he's going to be able to get that ult online.
All right, there's the window. You can even use the beat. There you go. Okay, Toronto Defiant using the beat to try and find the engage. RuPaul's off to the sideline with Animo trying to chase him down. RuPaul, or Chorong even, trying to chase him down. It's actually Animo on the defense in that situation. Hopper and Hisu come up with kills. It's now only a support and a DPS for the Florida Mayhem to touch. And yeah, Hydron's in the back. He's still doing work, but Toronto Defiant will still manage to cap that point. 1 minute and 20 seconds to move to third. Because that was a nice attempt from the Florida Mayhem, but with that beat, it's pretty tough to do so. That window, you can still get a lot of damage down, but the beat just kind of forces people through the window, and then, yeah, you just kind of topple over from there. You didn't have a beat to kind of counter it. Animo only just
Yeah, I mean, but now you do, and this is really where it's going to start to matter, because at the end of the day, Florida just want to stop Toronto from being able to complete this map. So there's a big reset there with that pick onto Hisu, and whoa, okay, they're actually just going to fight this out. Okay, Toronto.
Yeah, they use the lamp, then the beat. Nice counter grab. Oh, nothing saving from that one, unfortunately. One fight remains. One fight remains. Toronto Defiant. Hisu needs to have a godlike performance. Oh no. Go on, Hydron. You know you want to do it. Do not back out.
Hydron wants
Don't
this
chicken
so
out.
bad. Oh, he's going to do it?
He can overclock.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to
No,
touch. So as soon as they start moving over that bridge, he hits the overclock, hits a 5-man collat, and then they win.
Did they not see him?
Oh
they
my
don't
God,
see
I
him.
didn't see him.
Oh my God, they don't see him.
Oh, the Heese. The Heese ain't going to be leased for much longer. Hisu does receive a bubble just in time, but Hydron is just running them down. Oh, beautiful jumping shot onto Chorong. I mean, the damage is already done. Checkmate may have died, but the Toronto Defiant need to be able to touch. A sneaky play from Hydron will result in the push from Defiant, meaning all for nothing. There's only a hot ball left. Someone's going to help take him out, and that will be it. Nice play from Hydron there, catching Defiant unaware and stopping that play.
Wow. Oh, I was actually not entirely sure that that was going to work. But it did. It did. Maybe that was some of the secret sauce. Florida Mayhem, what else you got for us? I feel like Florida is one of the more creative teams that we have in the league so far. Like, you know, they play meta, but they also play really, like, interestingly. Like, we saw that Symmetra teleporter strat from them even, I think, just last week, which was really fun. we saw at the beginning of season 2, but this one was legal, so.
True. It's been lots of epic moments like that this season, I feel like.
Florida, though, it's always I feel like it's always Florida being involved. Like, they were the first team to pull out the Roadhog on Gibraltar at the start of the season, too.
I mean, to what success that had, Rose.
But they were still trendsetters, Jack. You wanted to see the Roadhog.
True. That is true.
They started it off for you.
Oh, God.
No, don't do
All right, let's have a look what Hydron did. I mean, that was a really nice reactive bubble there from Hopper. But, yeah. I mean, Checkman almost got killed in the blade, but that was all Hydron, that clip. Nice stuff. Nice stuff.
Right.
Yeah, they are. You're right. They are trendsetters. Yeah.
I know.
To be honest with you, I do and I don't want to see Hog, right? Because if we do see Hog, it does end up trickling down into ranked.
That's my point.
And I'm like,
yeah, that's my fear exactly. I've already seen too much of it. I've seen too much. My poor ranked games.
Yeah, it is painful. It is painful. And then you get the Hog on your team and he just feeds constantly. Feels bad.
You just gotta try to support it though. If it is in your ranked games, then you just gotta try your best to support it however you can. Give it a Reaper, give it a Lucio, let them go nuts. It's fine. Everything's fine. Anyway.
All right. Any cheekiness from you, Hydron?
I don't think so.
Any cheekiness? He's holding an off angle. He did end up missing that railgun shot. Now Hydron trying to check, although does end up having to back out after using that recall. Slow but steady push from the Florida Mayhem right now, just corralling Defiant into this back left-hand corner like their sheepdog herding lamb. Now, the Florida Mayhem still have 2 ticks. Toronto do need to touch, and they don't touch. Oh, Hopper and although managed, I mean, Hopper right-clicked himself to death, but oh man, that is...
Oh, that feels so bad.
We won't talk about that one. I feel like I'm saying that a lot recently. We won't talk about that. Don't worry about it. We didn't see it. We didn't see it. Another C9 for the day. That makes 2.
That is 2. It has been, well, 1 minute since the last C9, but the other one happened like an hour ago. So that's where we are with the day. Anyway, amplification matrices. Let's see what you got. Florida and Toronto. Animo has a sound barrier already. Who's actually surprised about this at all?
Oh, hunting. Although, managed to get the stick. Lamb gets force. Okay. And there's the window from Twilight. He's on the payload. Forces Florida Mayhem into that mega health pack room, but Twilight just gets rolled by Hydron. A window plus the right click will do it. Trades back and forth as Toronto Defiant committing with a 2-man beat. 3-man beat for the Florida Mayhem. Toronto really want to win this. It's a 2v3, but the Florida Mayhem don't end up using their grav. Toronto, I guess, at least forced a sound barrier out of Animo, but someone just patiently waiting with his Graviton Surge knew that they had a player advantage there, and now they're going to be able to take control of the payload.
I mean, look at where he's going. He's going up top. He's going on top of the grab.
Easy grab. Oh, no! Twilight jumps out of the grab, jumps to the high ground with the Exo Boots. All right, maybe it wasn't a bad trade after all if you're the Toronto Defiant. Blade pulled from Checkmate. He's got to deal with 2 beam characters and a lamp. He doesn't get many kills, but he actually forces Toronto Defiant all the way back. Sometimes cooldowns just for a naked blade is worth it. Twilight gets finished off, and the Florida Mayhem still control that point and are pushing it over the bridge.
They are going to be able to get this checkpoint. I don't think Toronto can come back and contest this unless they want to send all those Tracer in there. They're not going to. They're just going to try to take a closer hold here. Wait!
Oh, they do. 0.7 meters, and Hisu using the overclock. He's super low though, and can't really get an angle. A good headshot on someone. Oh, Hydron! Oh no! Tragedy has struck, and Charon got the assist for that too, because he was sliding and he sound barriered him. It doesn't really move you that much, but you do get the kill credit. Oh man, that is devastation for the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, but I mean, hats off to the Toronto Defiant. They're really kind of trying to play a little bit more risky, where, you know, they're going for those grabs where they're down members, or they're going for the sound barriers to try to survive with only 2 people alive. And that's just another one of those where maybe the cards were stacked against them, but Aldo got the touch and Toronto Defiant came in with a team wipe. The defense is a lot.
He's just getting chased down there. Yeah, all right. Here's Lucio still, so it's all good. Hydron finishes off Twilight with a disruptor shot as the Pulse Mob eventually misses from, although I was going to say lands. I was going to think the better of him, but it didn't end up happening. Hopper still trying to hold on to this point. Using that Graviton Surge, does lock up 3, but Animo at the sound barrier at the ready. Toronto lose that second pointers with 3 minutes, almost 4, to get not even to that third point. It looks almost a destined victory for the Florida Mayhem with a grab in hand.
Right. Grab for someone. Yeah, maybe just being able to use it on the corner here. Checkmate might even get the Dragon Blade online, but Trong's got to get the sound barrier up. That's going to be the saving grace here for Toronto's defense.
2%, 1%. He's got a sound barrier just in time. My word, he was even caught on the grab, but they don't touch. Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me.
No.
Oh my god. I mean, although it was next to the point, man, he was on the other side of the point.
Oh, but it's not just him. Everybody got grabbed.
No, man.
No, not like this.
So you know when you said it was a minute since the last C9? Yeah, refresh that timer.
Okay. No.
Refresh the timer.
It's just us. We're cursed. We're actually cursed.
We actually are. I would like to know the stats. I don't want Noah to do this or anything because it would be too much work. I would assure you. But I would like to see how many casters get or what caster gets the most C9s.
I think it's us.
Both of us would be at the top of that one.
Seth,
it definitely feels that way.
Seth and Avril got the most pauses.
Yeah. Definitely
yeah.
true. All right, okay. Well, to scrub that from our memory, we're going to go to a quick break. The Florida Mayhem, though, up 2-0 in this series, looking pretty good. We'll see if Toronto can come back or have Mayhem just got this in the bag. It's looking that way. We'll have to wait and see if the result is similar after the break. Welcome back. Did you know the Overwatch League is finally on TikTok? And to celebrate, we're offering one lucky fan a chance to win a trip to the Grand Finals. Visit the link below or check out the official OWL TikTok to learn how to enter the TikTok sweepstakes. How many times can you say TikTok in one paragraph? TikTok, TikTok, TikTok.
You sound
and
like
yeah, a sneak peek, by the way. I do, yeah. Speaking of TikTok too, just here's a little sneak peek. We're getting Matt to do the gritty in front of a green screen with Overwatch maps in the background at one point, and we're gonna upload that to the TikTok. So yeah, make sure you go follow to make sure you see Matt do the gritty at Grand Finals. Yeah, so make sure you go check that out. Grand Finals is going to be crazy cool too. Anaheim Convention Center, where BlizzCon World Cup, all that kind of jam happens. It's going to be a great time. So many memories were created there, and so many more will be created later on this month, and obviously going into November. Right, let's get back to the series at hand. Florida Mayhem against the Toronto Defiant. And is this going to be a 3-0? A little C9 there from the Toronto Defiant. They did get grabbed on the corner, but although it was like kind of next to the payload, you expect him to touch maybe. Not entirely sure what happened there, but it looked like C9 to me. It feels pretty bad, Rose, and we were just kind of discussing it in the break, that Toronto Defiant may still be a little bit sick. So kind of the best time to be sick, because your fate really isn't on the line at this point. You are guaranteed playing, so you feel pretty damn good about that. You can't get knocked out at this point, so kind of the perfect time to be, but it still doesn't feel good getting into a series if you are feeling a little bit under the weather. Hopefully they can pull it back on Junkertown though, which is where we're going next.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, too, you know, if you're not really pulling out like the super spice either, then you can hold on to that for play-ins, and so maybe there is some positive strategy overall here for the Toronto Defiant to walk away with from the series. But it's looking pretty fast, and it's looking like it very well might be a 3-0. But Toronto Defiant are on the defense first. We are going to see them roll out with kind of the signature. This has been kind of the bread and butter, it feels like, for Toronto so far, and I think that Aldo playing the Genji actually works out a little bit better in their favor. We saw Aldo swap to the Genji on Toronto's attack push on Eichenfelder, and it was because the Genji was actually a little bit more impactful, being able to slice through those bubbles instead of, the Tracer trying to trunk through them or like try to throw the pulse. You can always bubble that, so there's ways that you can kind of get around that Tracer damage, and it really wasn't being as effective as I think Toronto would have liked. So Genji it is.
Genji it is. Yeah, okay, Genji for checkmate too. I was going to say, you stick on the soldier? Mr. 76? But no, all good. Going back to the Genji. Well, I guess Soldier wouldn't be too bad. You can get some like
to get out of the door
flanks, I suppose, with the legs. Yeah, checkmate is pretty low. Was booted fairly high in the air too. A bit of a precarious position right now with the Toronto Defiant front line. Hopper taken to sub 1 HP by the looks of it. Chong to the rescue, but just that amped healing from Lucio. Not enough to get him back to the rest of his team by the looks of it. Easy push so far for the Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty fast take right there. I was just looking at the physics in this game are so weird. Was that Twilight's body just sitting on the corner? Like
the amount of ridiculous ragdolls I've seen is insane. Especially Hog. I don't know if anybody's. I'm sure you guys have seen Hogs in your game, but he literally break dances when he's dead. It's
a little funny. Or like you see him just like fly off into like whatever. Yeah, like go over to Horizon Lunar Colony or something.
Oh my god, what a bubble. Oh. Good bubble from Hopper there, saving all those life. And now with Animo dead, Toronto Defiant can just kind of speed on the backline, but although with Hopper now down, they are just kind of losing their presence on this point. It was a fairly decent start killing Animo. The Florida Mayhem still managed to recover that fight.
Yeah, that was a really big recovery there from Florida, especially removing all those Genji presence. Made it a little bit simpler to try to go in and grab those shots, because you're not worried about that Genji deflect anymore, throwing anything right back at you. Huge stagger onto Twilight as well. So by the time the Twilight comes back into this one, you're going to see Florida's payload actually round that first corner, which is going to be really, really good for them. They can take this high ground presence. They're not too worried about Hydra not being able to get back to the other team. But look at the wraparound that Toronto's going for here. They're just going to go through Cafe.
Checkmate's going to be able to call that out. There you go. See how they want to respond to that? Okay, they're just going to respond with a grab. There's the lamp, there's the blade. Goodbye, front line. Oh, Checkmate, 1/2 kills. Toronto Defiant, they're going to pull the blade. Although, why are you pulling the blade?
Oh, maybe he's switching?
It was 2v5.
Oh, but
I mean, I kind of hope so.
But even if you're switching there, oh no. Maybe that was a fat finger.
Yeah, you retain some ult charge, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that blade, unfortunately, although rough
I don't know
stuff.
about some of these ultimates that Toronto have been using. They've been very aggressive and a little bit loose with their use of the ultimates this series, that's for sure. You know, like the early...
Playing fast.
Yeah, like the early grabs from Hoppa, and you have like those sound barriers for not a whole team of 5. You haven't really been converting over the same values you would have liked, and if Haldo was switching, I would have liked to see maybe hold onto the blade and then go for just that additional 30% you might need to charge up here, but this is rough. Overclocked.
Oh, there you go. There's the double overclock. Who's going to peek first? Or it might not be Hydron as that sound barrier comes out from the Toronto Defiant. Still, they get to shoot for a window, which is pretty nice, but Hisu takes care of Hydron, as well as Arnamo on the Lucio, who's ductive, diving, and dodging at the moment. That window seems like it was good enough, though, for the Mayhem to stave off that sound barrier, that overhealth that Choron gave to the rest of the team. RuPaul stayed alive in amongst the chaos. Thought maybe, although kind of had that fight in the bag, but not to be. The Florida Mayhem getting around this final corner with a lot of time left.
It's going to be a pretty significant time bank with less than 4 minutes remaining. No ultimates really on the board right now, except for Twilight's Amplification Matrix, which will be good for at least a defense. As long as Florida don't keep pushing the pressure. But oh, that's good. That's good for Toronto. That's a pick.
Yeah, big pick onto RuPaul. Oh. I mean, I love the enthusiasm there from Hydron. Still trying to duel out in a 2v1, trying to get another pick, but yeah, ends up backing up. He was like 20 HP or something silly. All good. Okay, at least now Toronto Defiant can go on the high ground. They have what, like window, they can use Hisu to kind of shoot through it, although he's nearing that blade. Hopper's got grab, yeah, so they're in a pretty good spot. And Hopper's playing pretty far up too, knowing that he has the grab. It's how the Toronto Defiant want to navigate around this. Ideally, Hopper just lets them walk out, they hit the grab, and so the lamp's like easily visible. Well, there you go. There's the grab straight onto a Hydron before the lamp gets deployed. Hydron does end up biting the dust. They do use the B on top of that to try and sustain themselves through it. It's the Florida Mayhem. And now caught between a rock and a hard place. Do they push without Hydron? Well, definitely can't push anymore with Checkmate and Arnamo dead.
Yeah, not now. And they could have maybe tried to push the pressure a little bit, but Toronto, look at that aggression so far. They're really pushing Florida back, and the poke is good because you're really hoping that Choron gets that sound barrier online for when Florida Mayhem make it back in.
Wow. That was a really aggressive, oh my god, although, okay, that kind of made up for the blade a little bit earlier on, I will say. 2 kills, slash and dash, RuPaul and Hydron dead. All right, Florida Mayhem. That was a really nice grab, though, I will say, on Hopper, catching him on the corner. They insta-killed him with the window and a right click from Hydron.
It was a heavy investment of damage. It was a heavy investment of damage, but it did pay off. And now Florida, you know, they still get to use this Dragon Blade as well. And with the time that Toronto have bought, they have the sound barrier now too. But they have to back up here.
Yeah, although just dashed in, he got a bubble burst. And, oh, so did RuPaul's head there. Burst. Jesus, Hisu. Okay, Hisu is now lighting up. He's trying to spot the other support. Arnamo trying to get to that mega health pack with the rest of his team. Disruptor shots can do a lot of work here in this small confined space. And there's the slide kill onto someone. Alrighty, okay. Toronto Defiant with a very, very good defense.
Yeah, this is turning out to be way better than I think the maps that we've seen previously. Toronto, they seem to be playing more together as a unit, and their target calling has been really nice. Either Hisu opens things up with a big pick, or Hoppa runs and guns somebody down, and there's follow-up there from the rest of the team as well, but that's devastating.
Although again, okay, although it ends up going down again, but with Twilight's window out, the Florida Mayhem aren't gonna. Okay, both Lucios also died. That was a very strange little duel there in the corner. Hydron trying to walk up the stairs there, but Hisu was Just checking him. 45 seconds to go. Rather scrappy end to this round by the looks of it. A Graviton Surge once again available from the Defiant, but that's about it.
Well, they've eaten a sizable amount of time. That's 3.5 minutes gone. And so that's pretty big.
Here's the grab. Hydron's got the railgun, but doesn't matter because Hopper, 100 energy right-clicking into that grab with 20 seconds to go. This is a tempo that we've not seen the Toronto Defiant play at all series. 10 seconds. Florida Mayhem have window, aren't going to be able to touch, or just maybe, I guess, if Chorong does boop Animo away, the payload's a little bit too close to the choke. They definitely will get that touch. There it is. Okay. Checkmate's on the board. Touching the payload, but no one can leave it. Beat still in the hands of Animo with no Graviton Surge to counter. He's going to be in a good spot.
Watch out for the Dragon Blade, though, because although Hisu, they're working up to those DPS ultimates, and Animo's going to have to make a decision. Just going for it now.
Okay, Beat's actually used pretty early by Animo there. Maybe thought he could save Hydron, but it wasn't to be. And RuPaul with an extremely aggressive push takes care of Hisu. The payload is still moving, and it is Checkmate versus Chorong on the point. The blade has been pulled by Although, but someone got that grab off, and he managed to kill Twilight. Very little heals left for the Toronto Defiant. It's only Chorong kind of battling for his life, trying to hold on. He's got the beat, I suppose, but he's in the backline right now. A good bit of focus from the Mayhem, and it could end his life. But no, Chorong manages to survive, and they do use the beat. Here is the turnaround the Toronto Defiant needed. Overtime is going to tick down the blink of an eye. Speaking of blinks, Checkmate did once, and he does end up going down. Tracer falls, no one to touch. Overtime depleted, and the payload stopped. 2 points for the Florida Mayhem, and then some. The payload did get pretty damn far, I will say, in OT, but the Toronto Defiant still managed to hold on.
That was a great defense from Toronto. That was, what, 5+? How much time? I know there was at least 4 minutes on the clock when Florida entered into the third point. But my point is just that Toronto bought so much time with how well they played that defense on third. Kind of got a little bit rolled on the first 2 points, but they really got their act together when they started getting those ultimates online and just kind of following through with their game plan. I think Hoppa also just was kind of lit up like a Christmas tree the entire time and dishing out tons and tons of damage.
Yeah, Hopper's grabs. And like I mentioned, the tempo they were kind of playing at the very end, that's what you want to see, right? Toronto Defiant, they've been a bit slow to act. Even if you go back to the very first map of the series, Ruins was just all Florida Mayhem. They were just running at Toronto. Toronto, even with the Lucio, were playing rather passive. And this time around, Toronto Defiant switching things up, and Hopper's going aggressive with Chorong just pushing into the spawn. I mean, you're calling out kind of Hopper's damage. He's second on the team right now in terms of damage percentage, ever so slightly behind Hisu, who leads the team at about 30% of his team's damage. So, yeah, really putting up the numbers right now for Toronto. See how they do on their offense. Someone on the cheeky high ground. Already at 80 energy. I mean, he's going to get a hella ult charge if he just right-clicks that doorway. Yeah, look at that, 30% already.
Whew. I hope that, you know, the first hurdle here is just Toronto getting out of the door. Looks like they're going to be able to do so, but oh, wait, just kidding.
All right, well, see ya. Good luck with that. 50% on the grab. Okay, someone.
That's ridiculous.
Okay, I see you. I like the way they set up, Rose, actually. With Checkmate on the Sombra holding on to this right-hand side, the entirety of Toronto Defiant want to be able to look at the high ground, force someone off, but then look, he goes straight for a hack, making them turn a different direction, although on a slightly different page, because Hopper was looking at the Sombra. He couldn't bubble, although ends up just getting lazy.
I mean, it's tough, too, because, like, the reach of this beam, when you're at, like, 100 charge, someone is just actually going Super Saiyan right now and just kind of doing so much work. Wait, the rollout. Oh, the rollout. That's so cool.
There he is. He got it.
That's just cool. It's cool to see.
And you were talking about it a second ago, Rose, but yeah, dude's lit up like a Christmas tree. You were talking about Hopper, but the same goes for someone who's already got a grab. I mean, you might as well use it fairly early, right?
I think.
You got so much energy. Pretty free win if you think about it. All right, someone's on the payload. It is Hopper, but although once again dives in onto the high ground, he just gets taken out. No grab needed now for someone. Desperately calling for the kill onto Hopper, and he gets his wish granted. even trying to use the window to get out of spawn. Man, Toronto Defiant. This is looking like Casters to Masters right now. Us spawn camping. No, it's actually the other way around.
That's what happens to us, is what you're trying to say.
Oh, grab?
No.
Did it hit anybody?
Wait.
I think someone just walked into it. No, it hit nobody. All right. I'm not sure.
Well, there was no follow-up.
No one died is the main thing. But someone's still going in. It's going to be an overclock used by Hydron there as he snipes Twilight out of the air. Twilight trying to leap away from the rest of the team, leaped into the crosshair of Hydron. Sound barrier from the Toronto Defiant. And with no Twilight, as soon as the sound barrier wears off, they've really got no more hope left. He's doing hot boat, taken down. And right now, a Toronto Defiant getting sealed in a tin can. That tin can being their spawn room. Not looking great. They barely managed to push out, and they still have to contend with the EMP.
Yeah, the EMP still has to come through. Turong already used the sound barrier, so this might be another eco push for Toronto just to be able to get out of spawn. We're going to see a couple of swaps. Hisu going over to the Widowmaker for some one-pick potential. Twilight on the Ana as well. Just for a sleep, maybe. A sleep in a dream.
60 seconds.
Yeah, we do see this from Twilight a lot, Rose, when you switch over to the Ana in these final few moments to try and get some value down with that nade. EMP comes out from Checkmate as they were Graviton surged, by the way, so Checkmate jumped into that and used that EMP to counter. 3 men hacked from the Toronto Defiant, but Checkmate still managed to keep himself alive. A rather scattered fight is now Hydron is getting chased down by Chorong and Hopper. He manages to escape with the time being with 1 HP to go. Toronto Defiant overextending to try and find these final kills, but they're losing members. At least their spawn's close, I suppose. Toronto eventually get that payload rolling, but Florida Mayhem have a window, a grab coming up, and with 20 seconds to go, the Toronto Defiant have barely got a nano.
Yeah, this is not looking good here for Toronto's hopes to be able to make it for the first...
this flank is something stupid.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. Beautiful grab from someone. It's all over. Seal the can, ship it to Tesco. Toronto Defiant are done. There's no way they touch. I mean, maybe Choron gets back in time, but looking unlikely. Spawn held. Toronto Defiant barely got to that first point. Florida Mayhem showing up large in that last map. A clean 3-0. And yeah, I mean, what more can you say? That was
really brutal.
That
was really brutal. Like, Florida Mayhem are a fantastic team. But when you look at, you know, the historical performance of Toronto, the meta that we're playing in right now, when Hoppa is so good with Zarya, you expected this match to be a little bit closer. And so I hope that Toronto, you know, this is take a rest, make sure you take care of yourselves and come back strong, you know? I know the fans are behind them right now, so let's hope they can kind of bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, they still got another match.
Yes.
So, don't worry. They can still be 12-12 by the end of the weekend. They do face the Outlaws, so if they 3-0 the Outlaws, they'll be back to 12-12 with 48-48.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. It's still possible. The dream is still alive. Yeah, a brutal loss to the Toronto Defiant there, but on the flip side of things, Florida Mayhem, wow. Wowee. Hydron coming out with clip after clip after clip on the Sojourn. Looks good. Going into play-ins, which will be played on the same patch. The Florida Mayhem just heating up.
Yeah, I mean, Sojourn was definitely a character that we weren't maybe expecting to be as prominent this stage. It was really about kind of Tracer and Sombra playing as a duo, especially next to a Winston or a D.Va to be really able to get that dive. But as soon as Zarya started coming into the mix a little bit more, we've seen a lot more Sojourn, and Hydron's really, really good with that. That's why he is our player of the match. Well deserved. He hit some incredible overclocks. I mean, well with the 4K. And then on top of that too, just getting pick after pick with the Sojourn to kick off these fights did put Florida Mayhem into a driving position today.
Yeah, this quad kill was
nasty.
Just
actually
beautiful
nasty
stuff. Definitely deserves player of the match so far. Even that kill on Hisu, to be fair, was kind of disgusting. I will say though, you're not going to be able to get that lineup anymore. The patch that's currently live actually has a turned over car, so you can't directly aim down that sideline anymore. So yeah, next patch, playoffs patch, I believe that'll be in there. So Hydron can't get that lineup, but no one else can. So yeah. But anyway, regardless of that, very, very nuanced point. But My overall point is Hydron kind of went God Gamer mode in that series. 8k damage per 10, a 9.7 charge shots per 10. Charge shot accuracy sitting at 62%, almost looking like Shy out here when he was playing the Sojourn a couple of tournaments ago. And deaths, I mean 3 per 10, and you're getting 13 final blows, not eliminations by the way, final blows.
And I think what's impressive is like the final blows, it's a lot of it is charge shot kills, and when you look at those charge shots, most of them, Jack, were like 75% of a player's health pool just disappeared. So like it wasn't even just like a charge shot of like, I just need like a little bit of damage. It was like, I'm just gonna just destroy this player. Like it was a significant chunk of their HP that just went out the window when Hydron hit him with the charge shot. So big snipes.
It's time to me to kill. Now I will kill with right click. Yeah, it was pretty sick. I mean, he's called King Hydron for a reason on Twitter. We're gonna jump to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We got an interview with King Hydron after this. See you in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm here joined now by Hydron from Florida Mayhem. Hydron, congratulations on the win. This was a very fast, not close, 3-0 victory for the Florida Mayhem. I honestly thought it was going to be a lot closer. What did you think? Like, what was your game plan? Florida Mayhem's game plan going into today's match?
I'll be honest, we didn't have a game plan. We're kind of just focused on play-ins right now, so yeah, we literally did not prepare, I think, at all.
Okay. Oh wow, I mean, and it's you guys still beat, and without a plan, you guys still beat Toronto Defiant 3-0. I mean, then would you say that you said that you were sort of focusing more on play-ins? Like, what were you practicing for play-ins specifically?
Well, like more just necessarily like learning the comps instead of like playing specific maps for our matches and like having game plans for set teams. We're kind of just getting ready for play-ins and just like perfecting our craft for the time being. Okay. Well, I mean, I was gonna ask you about certain things, but I think the next question doesn't work because you said you didn't prepare. You guys were busy planning for play-ins. So let me switch my question, and I wanna ask you this because obviously you played great today. You were phenomenal on that Sojourn, and of course that got you the player of the match as well. What do you think differentiates a good Sojourn to a great one? I don't know, aim. Like, I mean, there's certain things you know the more you play the hero, and just kind of like situationally, like when you need to take angles and how to apply pressure in different situations and gap your counterpart. So yeah, that's a tough question. I honestly don't know.
That is, I'm sorry. I just came up with that. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot like that. Then how about like give us some tips, because I've been trying to play Sojourn and I think I'm a little bit spoiled because we get to see a lot of you guys, like great Sojourn players, play in the Overwatch League, and then unfortunately when I go into my ranked games, I'm just mechanically bad. So like, are there any like easy, quick tips that the fans could sort of use when they're playing Sojourn?
Yeah, so generally when you farm your left click to like 100 charge, you're gonna want to aim for the enemy's head. And the way you can do that is like you can stand still and like focus on your shot if that's what you need to do, but generally that's what you want to do. That's about the hero.
Okay.
And E when necessary. That's literally the hero.
See, all that sounds very easy, but like when you do it, it's yeah. I mean, I'll try to get more practice in. I mean, and before I send you off, last question. Like, how confident are you going into play-ins? Is Florida Mayhem? Are you guys ready to beat everyone in the play-ins and just head straight to the playoffs?
Oh yeah, I'll see you in LA for sure. We'll be there. I'll be there. You'll be there. We'll be here.
All right, I love that. Hydron, thank you so much for Hydron, thank you so much for your time, and again, big congratulations. And yeah, I'll see you in Anaheim.
Appreciate it, brother. See you there.
Nice, bold statement at the end. Confidence
is key.
That interview as a whole was just confidence.
Yeah.
I don't need practice, but he literally popped off on the Sojourn.
We were talking before the interview started, and Danny even asked him a bonus question for himself of being like, how do you warm up? Because I suck at Sojourn. He said it before the thing as well. And then he said, I don't warm up.
Yeah,
Hydron's like, I don't need to warm up.
No,
I'm just great.
Sorry, Hydron, we're gonna say this. Hydron specifically said, I don't warm up. All I did today was wake up and did laundry.
Hey, that's good. Laundry's important, you know?
I mean, talking about this match, honestly, I'm going to be brutally honest. I don't think they needed practice because I think it was all Florida Mayhem today.
Yeah, and this is, an important, match for the Florida Mayhem because they potentially might meet up in the play-ins moving forward. These are, Florida Mayhem, Toronto Defiant, Washington Justice, and, oh my God, I put myself on the spot. Who am I forgetting, Johnny?
Washington, I didn't listen to it.
Washington Justice.
Boston Uprising?
Boston Uprising and Boston Uprising.
You forgot about Pong!
I know. I'm sorry,
Pong.
Pong. This is a formal apology. But Florida look to be in top form. That Junkertown was just not close, especially with that spawn hold. While Toronto Defiant, on the other hand, looking very rough right now, although really struggling to come alive on the Tracer, but also unable to get value with that Genji. So overall, the Florida Mayhem coming in with a good game plan. You can see them playing their own style, not worrying about what Toronto Defiant want to do, playing a lot of this Zaya, Lucio, Baptiste, and it's looking good right now, and that should be the play-ins and potentially playoff meta, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm leaning more like praising Florida Mayhem for a quick 3-0 here than like, you know, worrying about the Toronto Defiant too much. You know, it sounds like they've been a bit under the weather and, you know, maybe they haven't had the best practice leading into this matchup. So if you're an upset Toronto Defiant fan, like, go touch some grass, man. Like, you just get off the PC. Like, stop touching the keyboard. Florida Mayhem, though, looking clean, looking good. And I just want to say as well, it is such a delight following this team and, like, seeing how they've grown throughout this season. Yeah. Because, like, if you want to zoom out a little bit, talking, like, big picture stuff, when I watch the Florida Mayhem, I feel like I'm watching someone and Hydron. They're like two role stars in the making. Yeah. Like, they're not there yet. They don't deserve to be nominated this year. You know, there's so many great players around this league. But seeing how Hydron has improved on the hit scan, you know, arguably, like, you know, outperformed XC and took that starter job from XC for the Florida Mayhem. Sojourn, Widowmaker stats, I went to look up. Like, he has some of the best first elim rates in the entire league on Widow, and Soldier 76. Someone as well, like, you know, came into the league, I'm a main tank player, I'm gonna play some Winston, Reinhardt, stuff like that. Picking up the Zarya, looking good on the Zarya, learning how to play all these different heroes, and he's not afraid to play heroes that he's not necessarily super comfortable with. So someone, Hydron, they're a treat to watch, and I'm looking forward to see them grow even more. Maybe 2023 role stars, just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for them. Yeah. Because they're definitely like getting closer to the mix.
Definitely, I think Hydron and both, I mean, all of Florida Mayhem, I think they'll definitely stay. And also, if they play like this with that confidence, I think they are going to be the favorites going into play-ins for sure.
Yeah, I think I would put them up there right now with one of my favorites to head out, because there are, out of these 4 teams, so Florida Mayhem, Toronto Defiant, Washington Justice, Boston Uprising, we're solidified that those will be the 4 teams playing for the play-ins. 2 of them will go through. I think Florida definitely looks like the favorites, but then I would, you know, after that performance by Toronto, I'm a little worried if they're going to be able to show up next week with that high level. So a lot to go to play for from Washington and Boston.
Yep, and also a lot of work for Toronto Defiant as well. Those are the standings for now. So let's move on to our best of the day. We had 3 Overwatches. But there's always best of the day for everybody. I'm gonna start off. My best of the day was from San Francisco Shock, where it was Striker and Proper fighting over a health pack. I don't know if it was a fight over, I think because they were both low HP, and I guess they both really needed it. Yeah, and they were...
Oh, man!
Yo, that's peak bonding moment right there.
Striker might get benched here.
Yeah. Hey, Striker.
So who got it?
Yes.
Striker got it.
Striker in the post-match interview. I'm here to facilitate Proper. Also Striker, this.
Also, Proper, I mean, slight ego. He's like down 55 health. Striker's like, I'm dying here, and you have 50. Oh, yeah. That is hilarious. That's one of the funniest things.
Striker gets the health pack, so I guess he wins that health pack battle.
Yeah, health pack battle. He's better DPS. I think that's what we learned from this one. Talking about top tier DPS, I gotta highlight my boy Spark, who has had actually a really good season so far for the London Spitfire. We haven't really talked about him as much, but he has just been absolutely. Well, I think. Okay, let's calm down. Everyone can't be a Rollstar, but with shots like these, Gangnam Jin, turning the corner, bonk. Forcing the Ajax Sparker with World Star. Sparker hitting with the World Star, heading onto the high ground. Absolutely dominant. Gets a bunch of kills off of that as well. And the London Spitfire easily should have closed out this fight and should have closed out this map, but potentially not, because they...
I'm willing to say that was a good beat right there. That was a good beat. Space created. He made room for the rest of his team. London Spitfire, their comms, you know, they were messy. I was like, oh, Ajax, whoa! It's like, oh, in New York. Meanwhile, New York's like, don't worry about that. You know, there was actually just a big distraction. The London Spitfire going crazy. Comms are not there.
Oh
instead,
my God!
Throughout this Yaki, it's like, hey, hold on. I'm gonna go ahead and cap right here.
That's one of the more egregious lines we've seen this year.
London Spitfire, hold this L, okay? No one cares about the Ajax. The point was taken. That's all that mattered. Play the objective. Yaki doing the right thing. Gangnam Jin creating space for the rest of his team.
That was awful.
Huge value for that Ajax.
That was
valuable
a
Ajax
smooth transition to your best of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I think Custas over here, like, giving NYXL a poor rep, you know? looking like Gangnam Jin is the villain. Gangnam Jin set up his team for success.
You are not going to be a Gangnam Jin apologist right here to try and defend this Ajax. You can't take this away from my boy Sparker.
That beat cancellation was the best beat cancellation I've ever seen go in the favor of their team.
Best beat cancellation, best C9. So they're both good.
Yeah, they can both be best of the days.
All right, those were the matches. Hope you guys enjoyed our best of the day. Hey, we got more Overwatch matches coming up tomorrow, so let's check the schedule for tomorrow. Eastern region, we got the play-ins going. We got the Pandas versus the Charge, right?
The Pandas.
And the winner of those two, right, are going up against Hangzhou Spark. Who do you think is going to go up?
I think if you're looking at just this stage, the Charge have to be the favorites to make it through, but they do need to win 2 matches, and the Spark, I think they flip a coin on whether or not they're going to be
Did you see that? Did you see that post on Reddit the other day? That Guangzhou Charge are tied for 4th in win-loss record since the mid-season madness, tied with the LA Gladiators.
Yeah, I would believe
tied
it.
for 4th in the league.
I'm just saying, it's a Jimmy diff.
Jimmy diff?
Yeah, it's a Xerneas diff.
It's a Xerneas diff.
It's a Xerneas diff,
Who's
bro.
Xerneas? Jimmy. He joined the team, everything went up.
Piggy diff.
Went up.
Piggy diff.
And Piggy diff.
Piggy
Piggy's been good as well.
All right, so that is the Eastern region happening tomorrow. Let's look at the West. We have Shock versus London Spitfire, New York versus Boston, Mayhem versus Houston Outlaws. Right, and of course, if Shock wins tomorrow against London Spitfire, they will lock in that number 2 seed as well.
And that is globally. So we're taking
globally.
into account Shanghai, Dragons, and Seoul Dynasty. So
Yeah. So 2 of the West region teams are going to be number 1 or 2, depending on.
maybe. I mean, we don't
Shock.
know that. We don't.
Depending on Shock.
Depending on Shock, true.
Shock. Represent the West, bro.
I actually want to reward the viewers who actually watch this long this entire time. Just quickly, because they were watching that Hadron interview. They were just like, oh, we wanted some Sojourn advice, and he was like, yeah, aim better.
Literally,
But
he said
here's some advice for you. I've seen a lot of bronze 5 Sojourn players. All right, when you're building up the right click is why the hero is overpowered. Right, the whole ultimate is to use the railgun. All right, so when you're building up your primary fire, you're building it up. That's not the most important part. Okay, the most important part is that you nail the railgun shot. Okay, so don't just like whiff it. Don't just throw it away like it's nothing. That is the most important part of Sojourn. Is hitting the railgun shots. It's like a Widowmaker shot without something.
Johnny's just telling
hit the railgun shots.
Let's get better. All right, let's just. So that's it for today, guys.
Don't throw it away,
Time to
Willie.
go into ranked games, guys. Throw some ranked game matches. Yell at your supports. Yell at your tanks. I think it's time for that. And with that being said, we're gonna say goodbye, and we will see you all tomorrow in the morning. Thank you so much.